Hey everybody, today for you guys I have another makeup tutorial. This is what I'm calling a Radiant Orchid spring inspired makeup tutorial. As I'm sure all of you know, Radiant Orchid is the Pantone color of the year, and I'm really happy with this color, so much more happy than what it was last year. I think last year was Emerald, just because Orchid is a color you can literally wear everywhere. It makes a great blush, it makes a great lip, and today I mainly focused on using it on my eyes, and I try to create just a really sort of everyday, not exactly natural because there is a purple on your eyelid, but something that you could easily wear to work or school, or you know, it's not too bright and it's not too out there, and it's very spring inspired. So we have very glowy skin, a pretty sort of shimmery lip, and then nicely highlighted areas on our face, like around our inner corners, on our cheekbones, and I just think that this look screams spring, but I really tried to orient it around the Radiant Orchid color. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and let's just get on into it. I'm going to start by applying some primer to my lids as usual. Today I'm using the Lorac Behind the Scenes eyeshadow primer, but use whatever you have. By the way, I have already done my foundation, my concealer, my brows, and blush and everything. I'll show you guys what I use at the end, but this is one of those looks that you can get all that stuff done first because none of these shadows really fall down. The first eyeshadow that I'm going to go into is Max Cork, which is this shade right here. It's just a medium, slightly warm, kind of neutral brown shade. And I'm taking a tiny little bit of this. It maybe looks like I'm using more because the brush is white and it's a little bit stained, but it really is just a little bit, and I'm just going to take this right sort of in that transition zone. And then the main sort of star palette for this look here is this one by Physicians Formula. This is the Shimmer Strips Pop Brown Eyes palette. So they have all these different palettes meant for different eye colors, and then they have like different subcategories for those eye colors. So they have like the regular one for brown eyes, they have like a smoky one, they have tons of different, you know, little subcategories like I said, but this is the one that says pop, so it's meant to be colors that are a little bit more bright. And I thought that these shades here, this sort of light lavender purple here, and then this little bit more of this magenta-y mid-tone purple here, were perfect for like that Radiant Orchid kind of trend. So I'm going to be mixing both of these shades here, but you can use any sort of an orchid or purple eyeshadow that you like. If you're really going for that orchid look though, I recommend using something that has a slight pinky tone to it. Because orchid purples have that sort of like cooler pinky tone to them. So I'm just taking this on the Sigma E55 brush, and I'm going to be patting this on my lid, avoiding kind of like this very inner corner here because we're putting a different shadow there. So kind of just keep it on the outer 2/3 of your eyelid. And I'm also not taking this anywhere up past the crease. I'm keeping it right on the eyelid because we're going in with a neutral shade up in our crease, so you just want to keep this on the moving part of your lid. So now we're going to work on our inner corner, and I'm going to be using this yellowy golden kind of champagne shade right here. It's a little bit gritty, but it's definitely workable. It's not, you know, a shadow that is too awful to try to work with. But I will just say it does seem to have a little bit of that kind of chunky texture. Gorgeous shade. It's really great for just brightening up this inner corner. And I think that that yellowy gold kind of shade right next to that purple looks really flattering. So I'm just taking this on a very kind of small detail brush and popping this on the inner third of my eyelid. And then I am also going to be popping this underneath here on my lower lash line, about halfway down here. Next for the crease, I'm going to use a different MAC shadow, and I'm going to be going into this shade here, which is called Coquette. And this is a kind of similar in tone to the Cork shade over here, but it's a lot more gray, but it's just sort of like a mid-tone, neutral gray, brown kind of shadow. There are no matte shades in this Physicians Formula palette, which is sort of like my huge gripe with Physicians Formula, is that they make amazing matte eyeshadows like in their little quads, but in these palettes, of course, I mean, it's called Shimmer Strips, they don't have any mattes. So you kind of have to pull other colors from your collection to get like a completed look, unless you want to run shimmer through your crease, which in that case, go for it. But I think that if you're wanting to keep this sort of like a natural, everyday, wearable kind of orchid look, you're going to want to go for a matte. And this grayish kind of shade, I just think looks really gorgeous next to that purple. It just kind of helps to tone down on some of the brightness, since gray is such kind of a dull color. And I really recommend that with any bright color. If you feel like you can't pull off bright shades really well, try pairing it with like a gray color in the crease, because it's really going to help to tone down some of that brightness. And since this shade isn't too dark, you can definitely transition it more and sort of diffuse it as you go more towards your brow bone here. Then just take a really fluffy brush and just go right around the edges here. Go just all over to just blend out that shade even more. Then using that same exact shade on a small little pencil brush, run this on that outer half of your lower lash line where you do not have that kind of golden shade going on. right out here and kind of connect it up. Now I'm just going to give my eyelashes a quick little curl before we move on to eyeliner. For my eyeliner today, I'm going to be using this Physicians Formula Shimmer Strips Eyeliner Pack. And by the way, these are completely my products. This video isn't sponsored by Physicians Formula Shimmer Strips products. I just decided to pick out this because I was going to go for just like a typical black liner. But this is the one meant for hazel eyes, and it has this black in it that has this really pretty kind of purpley orchid sparkle, if that'll focus. You can kind of see there when it shifts and when it catches the light, you have that really pretty orchid sparkle. So I thought that this fit the look perfectly, but you can definitely go in with just your regular black eyeliner. You can see here that when it's on, that little bit of sparkle is very, very faint and it's hardly noticeable. So if you use a plain black liner, it's not going to change up the look at all. And I did wing it out slightly just because that's how I like to wear my eyeliner, but you can definitely just do a regular line if you aren't comfortable with wing eyeliner if you don't like it. Then I'm going to run a black pencil through my tight line. This is the Jane water resistant eyeliner that you guys know I love. And then on my waterline, I'm just going to be taking this eyeliner about halfway. And that's just going to prevent the liner from closing off our eyelids too much. That tight line liner will naturally transfer to your waterline. So don't worry, like on this eye, it's getting a little bit more black around there just because it's been sitting for a little bit. So that black liner, like I said, is transferring. Not a big deal. Just don't take it all the way around. You definitely could, but I just think that if you're trying to go for a spring, kind of wider-eyed look, this is a little bit more flattering. And finally for the eyes, we're just going to pop on some mascara. I'm using the Benefit Bad Gal Lash because it just gives really nice curl, gives a nice amount of length. It's just sort of like a natural, fluttery kind of lash. Alrighty, so there's the completed look. I'm now going to zoom you guys out so I can show you what I used on the rest of my face. Okay, so for the rest of my face, I started by applying the Dr. Jart BB cream. This is their, what is it called? The premium BB cream. I don't know why I couldn't remember the name of that. And then on top of that, I put a little bit of my Bare Minerals matte foundation. The skin still is really glowy, even though this is a matte product, because with mineral foundation, as you buff it, it kind of becomes really natural with your skin, and this isn't like a super, super matte foundation. It still definitely lets like your natural shine go through. So with this sort of like really dewy product and this, it just created a very kind of natural skin. And then I highlighted a little bit using my Benefit Girl Meets Pearl. I just thought that this was perfect, that kind of pinky gold. We have a lot of those sort of pinky, purpley, goldy tones going on, so I thought this was a great highlight. I just popped a little bit of that on my cheekbones. And then for blush, I used this Cargo product. This is their blush in the shade Catalina. It looks like a very kind of bright, bubblegummy pink here in the pan, but you can kind of tell when it goes on the cheeks, it's very natural. It's not, you know, like a bright pink by any means. It just sort of looks like a very nice pink flush. And then for the lips, and this is maybe perhaps one of my favorite parts of this look actually, I think that this lip combination is really, really pretty. It's just a very sort of natural purpley kind of lip, and for that I used this Revlon Color Burst lipstick in the shade Lilac. Here's a look at that. It's sort of like a frosty lilac-y shade, but the frost isn't too apparent on your lips, and it's not one of those frosts that looks like your grandma's lipstick. It's a very, very like flattering kind of a frost. And then over the top of that, I put this Buxom lip gloss in the shade Princess, which is a pinky purpley gloss. It has this really, really pretty sort of gold metallic shimmer running through it. And I just put that like right in the center of my lips to add a little bit of shine. And again, we sort of have, like I said, those pinky purpley gold tones going on. So this gloss was just perfect. It really sort of brings out the gold in the eyes, and again, that sort of really pretty goldy pinky highlighter we have going on. So anyway, that is the end of this look. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.